Hello and welcome to the I Am Woman project, where every week we have deep, thought-provoking and interesting conversations with thought leaders, change instigators, rule breakers and creative minds who think differently, sparking creativity and inspiration. Our special guests on our show cover a variety of topics just for you, and they share their personal stories to inspire, motivate and empower you, our listener. The I Am Woman podcast is produced for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at www.catherineplano.com. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favourite RSS feed or iTunes. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get into the show. Today we have Rachel Scoltock, the angel medium, intuitive energy therapist and author. Rachel is an expert in angels, healing and energy. She teaches how connecting to a high source can heal and change your life. And this all came about after one morning a strange voice ordered her to stop her car on a windy mountain road. Yet there was no one in her car. And at that time, she didn't know anything about angels. But that very moment saved Rachel from a potential tragic accident. And that was the catalyst which seemed to awaken her psychic hearing and invited the angels into her life. Over the coming years, Rachel kept hearing that voice, found feathers daily, and had other unexplained events that she knew in her heart of hearts someone was looking out for her, but she didn't know who or what. Through a synchronicity, Rachel went to a seminar about angels and all her questions were answered. The following day, she had another miracle which cemented her faith. It's now time to open your heart chakra and let some love and light in. Enjoy this insightful conversation. So welcome to Rachel Scoltock. Today we have an amazing, beautiful soul healing angel with us. So we were just having this conversation and talking about angels and intuition and energy. And I thought we better start recording this conversation because it was getting very inspirational. So how are you today, Rachel?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on.
No. So we were just having a conversation, maybe it's for our listeners, so we can start talking a little bit about your book and how it came about.
Yeah. Well, my book is called My Life with Angels, How You Can Access the Healing and Wisdom of the Angels. And we were just talking about how, just the angels and working with energy and understanding little bits of metaphysics can really help everybody in their lives, even if they don't want to be completely immersed in it. Immersed in woo-woo. Yes.
And so, Rachel, how did it come about? What inspired you to write your book?
Well, this is my second book. The first book I wrote was about protecting your energy, like energy protection techniques for sensitive people. And but ever since, I started my healing business 15 years ago because of an event that happened to me, an angel intervention that happened to me in my car. And over the years of building my little business and all the things that happened ever since then, quite a story has come out of it. And it was actually my angels. I was actually guided to write the book, and because I was feeling a bit stuck. I was feeling like my business was going well, but I wasn't feeling as fulfilled as I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And I felt like something was missing. And lots of coaches that I've worked with and business consultants had encouraged me to downplay the angelic spiritual side of my business and to sort of really talk about being a therapist and maybe the energy work, not to be too woo-woo. And that was actually affecting me. I wasn't feeling good because I wasn't really being who I was, because the main players in my healing work and my readings are the angels. And they are what guided me to what I do today. So I was praying and meditating and asking for help, and I got the message, write a book, and they gave me the title, My Life with Angels. And so I did.
Yeah. And so when did you first interact with your angels? What was that pivot point for you that made you realize that they're here to work with us?
Well, the very first interaction I had that was conscious of working with angels was I was in my car driving down the Great Dividing Range between Walker at the top of the range and Warhope at the bottom. And I was driving home from the Tamworth Country Music Festival, and a voice told me to stop my car. And this voice just said, stop, very loudly, male voice. I was on my own in the car. I had my music playing. There was no one else on the road. And I slowed right down and wound my window down, and there was no one there. So I kept going, and then the voice came again, even louder, stop. So I slowed down to a crawl, and round the next bend there was a multiple car crash. And had I kept going at the speed I was going at on a wet road, I would have ploughed into the cars and the people that were in the road. So that introduced me to the fact that there was someone there. And then over the course of coming months, I was getting that voice and a lot more sort of signs and strange events happening. And that I ended up going to a seminar with Doreen Virtue. And Doreen Virtue was teaching about angels, and everything she said in that seminar said, everything that had been happening to me, the signs of angels. And she talked about asking them for help. So that's what I started to do. And it worked. I started to get help with my life. Yeah. So that's the very, very beginning. I didn't know a thing about angels until then.
And it's just from my experience, and we were talking about this before too, working with your angels, sometimes it's about being open to the science. It's not always a voice, is it? Sometimes it could be the lyrics in a song, or it could be a sign, on a bill post, or it could be anything. It could even be sometimes, a symbol.
That's right. Yeah. It's personal, really, isn't it? It's like sometimes you're asking for help with something, and there'll be a synchronistic experience where someone will come up and start talking to you about the course that you're thinking about putting out there, or the job that you want to go for, or you might see an ad in the paper, or a book comes to you. It can be any variety of things. I've seen, the word angel on the side of a truck, and I said, angels, give me a sign, and a truck's whizzed past me with angel written on the side of it, never seen it since and had never seen that before. So it's like these signs and symbols come from, into our real experience, our physical experience, to let us know that they're there, that they're hearing us, that they're helping us.
Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a choke.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Yeah. Absolutely. So going back with angels, what would be some of the angels that you work with?
So I work with Archangel Michael. That's the primary angel that I call on as soon as I open my healing room door in the morning, I ask Archangel Michael to be here and to work through me and with me. And Archangel Michael's the protection angel, I guess. And he also carries the sword of light, which cuts away or chases away negative energies, negative vibes, negative attachments. So I work with him in my healing room. If I've got a client here or a client on Skype and needs to cut away attachments, to negative, painful experiences or relationships, you might have a cord at your throat.
I'm wondering whether this is all happening for a reason. It's never happened to me, actually.
No, hasn't it?
No, but I'll go with it because obviously an angel is clearing my throat right now.
That's it. I always I ask Archangel Raphael, that's what I'm asking for you at the moment, to clear your throat. Yeah.
I do that. I do lots of work with Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Metatron. So they're the main ones that I tend to work with and have done since I can ever remember. I've grown up. I don't know whether it comes from my mother because We do have, when there's this thing that we have that, for example, if you feel like you've just had a run of bad luck and there's one thing after another that just doesn't go right, we have this little prayer where we light the candle for 7 days. We do this prayer to Archangel Michael, and literally it just lifts the cloud. You know, that's how we describe it.
Wow, that's beautiful. And you do that in your home, like in your family?
Yeah, we do that as a family. We've got this one prayer that we have had for as long as I can remember that we've always used. But it's invoking Archangel always.
Yes. Yeah. That's lovely. I love that.
Yeah. So there's another thing I wanted to ask you. You talked about protection. Your first book is in regards to protection. I'd like to sort of unpack that one a little bit too, because I'm intrigued. Because I remember one time I was away and somebody said to me, it was a teacher actually, said to me, Catherine, because I used to be big on protection, he said, if you actually think you need protection, you will need protection. If you think you don't need protection and you just allow things to flow through you, you won't need protection. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I really get that. And I'm conscious that when we talk about energy protection, that we're not putting, I'm not putting fear out there that like, oh my God, there's something I've got to protect myself against. But I mean, energy protection really, really has worked for me. And it's one of the things that really saved me because I'm an empath. I'm really super sensitive to energy and to people's emotions and the atmosphere in a room or a location, So, when I learned to protect my energy using light, I see it more as a filter, as in it sort of helps me to still feel and I feel, I'm still feeling everything, but I'm not taking it on. And I think that's the one thing with sensitives is that with these loving, compassionate, open heart, you sometimes want to take everything on from people. Yeah. And this, as well, being in coaching and helping people with their lives, you're working with the energy that they're releasing, the pain or the struggle or the block or whatever, as well as, bringing in the positive energy for them. Yeah. So I agree. And I really like the prayer of, thank you for helping me to feel safe or protecting me, rather than saying, please protect me against. So I guess it is a bit of it is a mindset. But I do think, having spoken to people in different cultures as well, and indigenous cultures, it's about recognizing energy as being real and having different forms of energy and different densities of energy, and when we're aware of it, I guess it's just like going out in the rain with an umbrella. You're not scared of the rain, but it's there and you don't want to get wet.
So true.
So that's why I wrote my book, because a lot of my clients that were coming to me were sensitive too, and a lot of their struggles were because they weren't aware of and conscious of how energy was affecting them. So I was teaching them how to manage their energy. And be aware of it.
This is something that we talk about quite often. There's the difference between when you're asking, there's almost like a sense of desperation. When you're saying thank you, there's faith. There's like thank you. It's a very different energy.
It is, isn't it? I love that, putting it that way, that there's faith when you say thank you. Yeah, and it's acknowledging that it's already there instead of acknowledging lack or scarcity or emptiness. So yeah, you're being one with what you're asking for instead of, Yeah,
absolutely. So, Rachel, what's the best part of what you do?
I think the best part is when people come back to me and say that they've started talking to their angels, or what has come out in their session or their healing or has helped them. And it's an empowered help, rather than feeling like they're, So that's the best part. I was thinking about that today as somebody contacted me about something that I'd said, and I hadn't even realized I'd said it in the session, but that was the trigger that helped them to realize something, to release a block and make a change. And I think that is the best thing, whether it's through teaching or healing or a book. It doesn't matter.
So, Rachel, for all our listeners, what if they wanted to get in touch with you? What kind of things would they come and see you for? Like, because you talk about doing healings and so forth. What would be some of the things that you actually work with, apart from clearing my throat? By the way,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thank the angels for that one.
Thank you.
I think the people who are stuck, I guess, when I do Skype sessions and I do a set amount of in-person sessions, so that's usually healing. I really I don't do readings so much in person anymore. I do them as a recording. But people who are feeling stuck and they don't know what the block is, or they know what the block is but they don't know how to make a change, it's having that someone to have a different perspective, but also I can see and sense and read the energy and help them to get really clear on what it is that give them insight as to what's going on, but also help them to clear it, because everything, as you know, everything has an energy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to talk about it for hours and hours. You can actually release whatever that block is. And it could be unconscious, it could be coming from outside, it could be, anything, and helping to release that block so that they can move forward. So that's really, I guess, with the Skype and the healing sessions. And readings can be about anything. But I guess, again, it's the same, like feeling stuck, not being clear, not really knowing what to do to make the change. And I'm a big believer. I'm not into fortune telling, because I think our future isn't already written in stone, and that we change it, we affect it by our thoughts, our beliefs, our expectations. And so I love giving people the angels' guidance as to how they can make the change, how they can bring about, manifest what it is that they want, or release what they don't. Yeah.
And so with your readings, they're recorded, which is interesting. I've never come across that. So they're and your readings are with angel cards, working with the angels, that kind of thing. Like, what about if, for example, somebody had specific questions? Do they email them to you in advance and then you do a reading, or do you just read whatever comes through for that individual?
I get them to send me questions because I love to have a direction.
Yes.
To go in, because being an energy intuitive, I'm really, everybody's got different layers in their energy field. And so I can read people, but it tends to, I like to get to the point of what it is that they really, really want. Mm-hmm. So they usually make the booking and then send me 4 questions or 5 questions, and I'll record it. And I found since I've started working with that, I'm a lot clearer. The answers come more quickly because of being an empath, I think, and after years and years of doing this stuff. Having people in person sometimes for reading is a little bit difficult, because the things that come up, well, one, you end up talking a lot more than reading sometimes, giving, between the two of you, therapy sort of talk. And also it's just sort of getting through the layers of that energy and the anxiety or the fear or whatever's in the way. So I'm a lot clearer being separate from the person.
I love that. And it makes so much sense. It really does. So obviously, Rachel, you do this for a living. You write books, or you've got 2 books. You do your healings. You do your readings. So with the benefits of hindsight, would you have done anything differently in your life or career?
I probably, in a way, I look back and I think, oh my gosh, I really did do it the hard way in a lot of ways. As in, I just went, okay, I know what I'm going to do. And I was living in a rural village, miles away from anything. And I set up my little healing room, and that was it. That was what I was going to do. When I look back, I think, I could have made it easier on myself by maybe going to a bigger town or getting a part-time job. But really, everything I did gave me a really huge life lesson. And so, the first couple of years of struggling, really the angels came in and taught me how to attract clients through the law of attraction, through metaphysics. And I learned so much through what I did. I don't think I would do it differently.
Would you be open to share that with our listeners? Because I'm sure they're very curious as how did you work with the law of attraction?
Well, by doing everything wrong to start off with, I started to learn that what I was doing. So I have a background in marketing. I used to do event management and music management when I was in the UK. So I had lots of marketing ideas, but I didn't have any money. When I first set up my business, my marriage split up, and and I had no other form of income. So it was really like sink or swim. And I had to learn to attract clients through, the physical means of like putting notices on notice boards and sending out brochures and newsletters and building my mailing list, which was really powerful. But also I had to get my energy right. So I had to get my mindset in focusing on service rather than, oh, I need 5 clients this week so I can pay the rent and buy food. As soon as I put my attention on, I need the money, the clients would disappear. When I put my attention on how can I help, I would start to attract people. It became really obvious because I was living so close to the bone when it came to money and surviving. So also I learned to even when I didn't have clients, I went into my healing room. I offered people one-off free sessions in exchange for feedback, because the angels taught me that work creates work. And putting my energy into that energy room was building the energy up of me being a healer, and I was getting valuable practice, but I was also creating the right energy to attract people. So that worked on a physical level because people spoke about it and they told their friends and they came, but also it worked on an energy level because I was putting out there that I was serious about what I wanted to do. And I was radiating healing vibes, I guess.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And I had to learn to let go too, because I have a tendency to work too much. And when I overdid it or pushed myself too much, I started to block as well. So I had to learn to take breaks and let go. And then when I took breaks, then people would ring, and I'd be, instead of sitting at my computer for 12 hours a day going, what can I do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a very step-by-step learning in the moment, but really valuable stuff,
Oh, yeah. It is. It's the energy's like that. It's in the giving that we receive. And when we don't stop to receive, for example, because we're working like crazy and working really hard, and it's almost like you're pushing it away from you, you're creating this energy vortex that it's only when you stop that you're allowing it to come to you and receive. And that's really important too. That's a big lesson, I think, for all of us to be able to stop enough or pause long enough to receive, because everything's so fast paced.
Yeah, that's right. And everything is go. Like you could sometimes I think I could be on my phone all night if I let it, I let myself. And and I had to learn the lesson too of, that you can't do everything. Like you can't be on every blog and every all of the rules that I don't know if it's so bad now because I've disengaged from it, but all of the rules that are out there about how much you're supposed to post on social media and stuff like that could drive a person crazy, and had nothing to do with what I was actually trying to put out there. I'm a healer. I want to do my healing. I don't want to be on the computer all the time.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, darling. I'm right there with you. You mentioned intuition. I'd like to maybe talk around intuition. What is intuition, and how does one empower their intuition?
I like what Louise Hay says about intuition. She calls it her inner ding, in that when you are on the right track, or you're in alignment with your soul, you're in alignment with what the divine or your higher self wants for you, and it's right for you, and it's for your highest good, your body, your emotions, your feelings, everything starts to tell you that is right, or that it's wrong if you're off track. So you have gut feelings. Your body tells you. I think anxiety a lot of the time is intuition, about not only about what may be going on the outside, but maybe about the thoughts that we're thinking. Your body's giving you direct feedback. And I think, intuition is I think our body and our emotional feelings and even our thoughts, if used in the right way and understood, is like an antenna. and it's constantly giving you feedback about what's good for you, what's not good for you, what's right, what's going to take you off track.
Yeah.
And I think when you tune into it, you start to get like a directory, if you like, of, goosebumps to me is I'm on the right track, or that's a message from my angels. Someone will say something and you just go, goosebumps, this is right for me. But a knotted stomach and anxiety is like, nah, run, get away. Don't go there.
Yeah, so true. And it's one of those things. I was having this conversation today, actually. It's sometimes you feel it like intuitively. It doesn't matter where you feel it. It could be in your gut. You've got to make a decision, but then your mind gets in the way and starts talking logic and says, no, Catherine, why don't you give it some more time and maybe digest over it, maybe sleep on it, and then this goes on and on and on. And you have this inner dialogue with yourself and this inner conflict that when you actually finally make a decision, it just releases and you feel free of it, and it's like, wow, I could have released myself of this inner conflict months ago, but it was just about, I was getting in my way of making a decision.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Sometimes it's guilt. So you second guess it. Exactly. Yeah. You logic or overrides it, and then you go, but actually, and we're always learning, aren't we? Whether we make the right decision or we don't, it's a lesson. So you just go, oh, okay, that was my intuition.
Absolutely.
I'll listen next time.
Yeah, and I think the day I'll stop learning, I'll be well and truly, I will turn to light.
Yes.
I would have checked out of the planet.
Yes. That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
So, Rachel, we talk to a lot of women in business and entrepreneurs, and there's always pain points. We all have pain points. So what would be some of your biggest pain points in business?
I think I guess the biggest struggle I had was keeping the business going, living in a rural area, a country area, and keeping the flow of clients coming to me, because that was my main source of income. And I guess constantly reminding people that I existed, and having those hairy weeks when you go, oh my gosh, there's no one booked in, what am I going to do? But that's a learning curve too, I think. Learning how to do it and how not to panic when it isn't always a full diary,
And that's a good one, panic, because that's, once again, if you respond or react in a panic way, you're actually once again pushing it away from you, because you're creating this invisible wall for that you're receiving more clients, I guess. But being in rural, I mean, I'm sure you could, like I went to Mind, Body, Spirit. I don't know if you do these kind of things, or maybe talking or doing some Skype sessions. Like I said, it would be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that doing events really does make a difference. And, I guess I learned that, and also just, being able to use the internet. Like when I first started, I didn't, and that just threw the net wider, because I didn't have to just rely on local people knowing about me.
Yeah. Because what you do is very, very unique. It's psychic healing. So, for those that are out there that are listening to this interview right now, or two women having a conversation, they might be in that same situation. So what would you say would be the number one reason that people in your kind of business fail to succeed?
The people that I've met that started and then stopped for whatever reason was because they did panic. I think because they maybe did struggle to start off with, and then found it really difficult. So I think having a really open mind to being able to market yourself. So many people have said to me before, like, oh, I'm really good at the healing, but I hate marketing. Or I hate putting myself out there. And I think that goes with the territory, because being a sensitive person, not always the most that I think we've even maybe come through with some past life hang-ups, about money.
Yeah.
and because in past, I guess healers in the tribe, in indigenous tribes, they were taken care of by the tribe. Money wasn't a thing. And now we have to function and pay our bills and do all the rest of it. So there's lots of stuff around money, I think, with healers and also, not wanting to market themselves. But I think because there's that cliche that it's salesy and it's wrong and you shouldn't be asking for money for your gifts and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff was said to me in the beginning, and it's just all rubbish.
It's true. And I mean, money is just an exchange of energy, really, isn't it? Because back in the days, they used to barter. I mean, you give me a healing, I'll give you a chicken, or you fix up my car and I'll make you. So there was always an exchange. It's just now we just have notes and coins.
That's right, exactly. And I've noticed I used to give a lot of stuff away and sessions I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I still love to give to people, as much as I can, in the session. But something has to be exchanged because otherwise I find that the person doesn't go away with the same, they either don't place a value on the healing or they don't fully receive it if they haven't exchanged for it.
That's true.
There has to be an energy exchange, yeah.
I learned that lesson very on about doing lots of things for free, but then there was never an exchange. And now, even if I do at no cost, there has to be an exchange. So I always talk about it has to be an even exchange of energy. Otherwise, it's. I think for me, and I'm sure for some of our listeners, it's all about self-worth as well. Am I worthy? Yes. Because it depends. If you do have money blocks, we all have them, and we don't know where they come from. They could be our parent programming, but could be part of our DNA. Who knows? But we do all have them. It's then how do we work with them? But being aware of them. And I guess that's one thing that you could work with, I guess. Do you work with money blocks? Do people come and say to you, for some reason, every time money comes my way, I sabotage or I get it in the way. Could you help me?
Yes, I do. I do work with people with that. And with healers in particular seem to approach me about that because, like you say, it can come from anywhere. And that it's just like you say, not placing enough value on yourself. And if you're always giving it away, then what the deficit happens within you. You end up drained. You end up, giving your own energy away because you haven't placed any value on it.
That's right.
So I have worked, and I do a intuitive energy and angel therapist training course. And part of that is building a spiritual business. And I do a whole module on prosperity and manifesting and releasing those blocks. Because I think, there's some. Maybe it is across the board with other businesses as well. But I think givers, whether you're a coach or a healer or whether you're doing something spiritual or not, there's this sort of just this want to give.
Yeah.
And learning.
And by giving, you're actually giving your power away. It's energy, right? And if you're not receiving it in some way, shape, or form, eventually you will get burnt out.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So, Rachel, as we love to ask our women of inspiration as we wrap up the show, what would be that one word that best describes your personal brand?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I think healing. I love the word. I love angels as well. Angels or healing. I don't know. Am I allowed to have two?
you can have two. I was going to say angels or healing. Absolutely, you can have two.
Oh, right. There you go. Thank you.
And Rachel, the other thing we do as we also wrap up is we always ask our women of inspiration to leave our listeners with 3 shiny golden nuggets. So what would be those 3 shiny golden nuggets that you would like to leave for our listeners today?
I would love to remind everybody to ask their angels for help with everything, with anything, whenever you feel stuck. And I really think, don't worry about whether you believe in them or not to start off with. You could just see it as calling to the universe or to your higher self but ask for help because that opens your energy, makes you more receptive and brings in solutions, divine guidance, signs, whatever. Let yourself be surprised. And I think healing yourself, doing what it takes to let go of the past and the blame and the shame and the trauma, and those things can really keep us stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Those energies, everybody's got stuff, but really taking steps to let it go is can empower you and get you out of feeling stuck and feeling boosting your own self-power, and letting go of old self-esteem issues, and also trusting those gut feelings, like we said, listening to it, even if you notice it and go, oh, okay, I'm feeling something else here. That's a step in the right direction, because the more you listen to it, the louder it gets. And
I love all three of them. And Rachel, the one that actually I was thinking of too for our listeners is sometimes we actually try to heal our own self, when it comes to maybe, any past traumas or sabotaging yourself. Sometimes it's just as easy or a quick fix to see someone like you to get a healing to help you through that. So you don't have to actually do it on your own. Is that right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And not from the perspective of, marketing or anything, but from the perspective of when you need healing, sometimes you need someone to facilitate that, to be a witness to it, who can see things in a different way and reframe them for you, and who can actually pull that energy out of you. Sometimes people are walking around stuck for years with some lump of energy in them that, that as soon as they're willing to let it go, will go with the help of a good healer.
Yeah, so true. I mean, I've seen so many, whether any forms of healing over my time, and I think it's purely because there's no way I could have done it myself. And sometimes, I don't know if you're have you heard of attachments? That we have attachments.
Yes.
So so sometimes we can go into a public environment that might not be aligned with who we are, and sometimes we get these attached energies that we're not even aware of, that actually almost like energy vampires, and then we wonder why we are exhausted and tired, and then you go and see healing, all of a sudden they say you've got an attachment, and it's like, oh wow, no wonder I've been behaving or talking like this. I haven't felt myself for quite some time.
That's a really good point. And then when you walk out of that healing room, you feel 100%, you feel your energy and your passion and your joy come back. And you may not, those kind of attachments don't want to be seen. So you're not going to see it. And whereas a trained healer could. Yeah. So if you're not feeling good, it is good to get someone else's healing and attention and focus on you.
And attachments are quite common, aren't they?
They are. It's not something, it's like we were talking before about protection. That's one of the reasons why energy protection is so important, protecting your energy and keeping your vibe high and positive and light. But they are, and they can really have a strong effect on people.
Yeah. And from a physical, like always, it's just creating boundaries, isn't it? That's all. So when you're talking about protection, it's like we talk about physical boundaries. You have certain limitations around you, what you will accept and not accept. So from an energy standpoint, it's the same thing, isn't it? Really, you're creating boundaries so that it's protecting you.
That's right. And I think because we don't get energy training, not everybody gets energy training from a young age. Our energy can be unruly and out there and dragging around like a big trawler net, and you go in the supermarket or the pub or the hospital, and you end up with these things in your energy field. And when you learn to protect your energy and pull your energy in and manage it, you have more energy and you feel better in yourself. Lots of people have all sorts of symptoms because they've got these attachments or because their energy is all over the place.
So true. So, Rachel, how can our listeners find you? What's the best place?
On my website, I guess, is the easiest place, which is rachelscoltock.com. And I'm on Facebook. I use Facebook and Instagram most of all. I post a daily reading, card reading on Instagram and Facebook, and I do a weekly YouTube video reading, angel reading. But everything also goes on my website as well. So that's probably the easiest way to get hold of me.
I love it. When you're saying readings, are you doing just readings as in what comes through, or readings about what?
It's like I pull a random card every day with the intention of, this is for the highest good of whoever reads it. And then I'm a channel, so I channel the message. I don't just write what card meaning is. Whatever comes through, I write. So they're quite. And then my weekly video reading I do on YouTube. I do the same really. I randomly select 3 cards, and I talk about what the angel's message is for the week ahead. And because we're going through big energy shifts at the moment, and we're affected by the world consciousness and the planets and our own energy, and so there's themes. But I always think, even if there's just a sentence in that reading that is for is going to help somebody. Yeah. The angels will guide them to it. They'll see it, they'll read it, or they'll hear it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for your time, your energy. Thank you for coming on the show. I've loved it. Every minute of it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I've loved it too. We could probably talk for ages.
Absolutely, for ages.
Yeah,
yes. Thank you.
Energy. Thank you so much.
That brings us to the end of another episode. I hope you enjoyed the show, as it is my mission to reach out and inspire as many individuals like you. And one of the best ways to help us achieve this goal is by giving us a good review on iTunes. It's easy and it only takes about 10 seconds. If you have any questions or special guests that you would like to hear from, please send us an email to support@catherineplano.com.au and we will get right back to you. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter or Facebook @Catherine Plano. That's it for now. Thanks for listening. Until next week, please take care.